Hello and welcome to Monday's Yoga Club. Your practice is at your own risk, so just pay attention to how your body feels today. It might feel different today to how it's felt in previous classes. Be prepared to take lighter options and miss things out if there's anything that your body doesn't need. We'll start the class today lying down, so take yourself to a comfortable lying down posture. As I always say, that may well be Shavasana. So feet out to the corners of the mat, hands away from your body, your palms turned up. But whatever allows you to be comfortable is perfect. And once you're there, this is your moment to transition from your day to your yoga class. So take this as a moment of release. Physical release, so that as you exhale, just allow your body to relax. See if you can release tension from your shoulders, from your hips. But also, as you exhale, you could take that as a chance just to almost exhale away the day, letting go of anything that's been a part of your day that you don't need in the next hour of yoga. Knowing that thinking about those things during the class won't necessarily resolve them, and they'll still be there waiting and ready for you when you're in a better place at the end of the class. So take a couple more good breaths, releasing on each of those exhales. And start to warm ourselves up. So if you bring your feet towards each other, taking your arms up above your head, you can bend your elbows if that just lets your arms rest naturally on the ground. As always, this is an ideal thing that you could do before heading out for a run or a ride, especially if you're running or riding early in the morning when your body's not quite woken up. So take an inhale. And as you next exhale, bring your right knee in towards you, bring your hands forward to take hold behind your knee or around the front of your knee, and draw your knee in towards your chest. Then as you next inhale, take your arms up overhead and stretch your leg out. Next exhale, bring your left knee in, arms come over to hug that knee in, and inhaling, you're stretching your leg out and stretching your arm out. So keeping that going, alternating legs. You exhale as you draw your knee in. You inhale as you stretch your leg out and stretch your hands back behind you. Then as your hips start to warm up, you could then start to warm up your back, so that as you draw your knee in, you could lift your head up towards your knee. And as you inhale back out, take your head back down as you take your arms back down behind you. So only take this to a point that's nice and easy. If as you do this with your back just warming up, any discomfort in your lower back, any upper back, any discomfort in your hip, then make it a gentle movement. Don't push it at this early stage in the class. As your arms stretch up behind you, really stretch your fingertips away. So you get stretch at your armpits. Taking one more of those to each side, finishing with your left leg. Then with your elbows bent, just let your arms rest easy on the ground above you, almost maybe forming a bit of a T shape with your arms. Bring your legs together, stretch your arms above your head, interlace your fingers if that's comfortable and good for your shoulders, toes pressed forward, hands stretched backwards, lengthening and narrowing your whole body from toe tips to fingertips. Release, bring your hands by your side, slowly come to sitting, and from sitting come up to standing for our sun salutations. So standing at the top of your mat, bringing your feet together. And then, with your hands relaxing by your side, just take your shoulders back a little, allowing your shoulder blades to relax down. Tilt the centre of your chest up towards the ceiling, a small movement, lifting the crown of your head upwards as your feet press downwards. We'll then take 2 breaths before we begin. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, bringing your palms together. So what I'd like you to do is we take these first 2 rounds. In these first 2 rounds, as you know, we focus on the individual postures, and then the second round we flow from one to the next. So what I'd like to think about is as you come into each posture, I can only see Jim actually, but I'm sure everybody else is doing the same. I can see that Jim is firmly pressing his palms together and has lifted his elbows, as is the kind of adjustment that you make to make this strong. So I'd like to think about what are those little adjustments that you make. I often will give verbal cues into each posture so that when we flow, you can quickly and rapidly make each posture strong and solid in that brief moment before we flow to the next. From here, reaching your arms up, stretching them higher, then taking your arms and armpits back, tilting the bottom of your rib cage up towards the ceiling. From your hips, keep your arms lifted as you hinge forward. Then once you can't keep your arms lifted anymore, let your arms relax down, let your neck muscles relax, bend your knees as much as you need so your fingertips touch the ground. Taking your right leg all the way back. Let your hips relax. Press your heel away, and as your heel presses back, you'll find your knee lifts. So that you can keep your knee actively lifting, that will lift your thigh and lift your shins. Letting your hips, though, at the other end of your leg relax down. Take your left foot back, come into down face dog. Hips lift, hands press down, heels press down. Maybe pressing your hands forward so your armpits can come down to the ground and your chest can head towards your knees. Looking between your hands, come forward to plank. Looking between your hands in plank, ensuring your hips are in line with your neck and heels. Again, you can press your heels back here. That will help your knees to lift so your knees are active, applying a bit of core strength and navel towards your spine. Lower your knees, then bring your chest down to the ground. Touch down with your chin. Then press your upper body forward as your face lifts, as your chest lifts, as your shoulder blades ease back and your elbows come in close. Tucking your toes under. Lifting your hips. You can take them back to your heels a little first, especially on the early rounds. Back to down face dog. Hands press down, heels press down, hips lift on high. Taking your weight a little bit over into your right toes, so you can lift your left foot away from the ground. So you're taking your heel up towards the ceiling. So just lifting that leg as high as is comfortable. As you do that, press your right heel firmly down. You'll get your good calf stretch there. Lifting that leg as high as you can, pressing your left heel down. Then lower your left foot, so you're bringing the big toe and second toe around your heel. And you can now use your left foot to press your right heel down to the ground, increasing the stretch on your right calf. Then release that, bring your left foot back alongside the right. If you've got the energy, reset your dog, hands press forward, hips lift. Look between your hands, bring your right foot through. Lifting your gaze, relaxing your hips. Just bring your left foot through to join the right, relaxing into your forward fold with your head hanging heavy. Then reach your arms up, nice and straight. They'll bring you up. Look between your hands, take your arms and armpits back. And hands come down. Inhale. Exhale, palms pressing together, shoulder blades relaxing. Reaching your arms up, stretching them back. Keeping your abdomen pressing forward as you do that, so you're not compressing your back by leaning back at your waist. From your hips stretching forward and then down. Fingertips in line with your toes on the mat. Having your legs as straight as they can be whilst your fingertips are comfortably on the ground. Taking your left leg back. Left heel presses away, left knee lifts, hips relaxing, looking straight forward. Then sending your right foot back to down face dog. Hips lift, heels down, hands down. Come forward to plank, looking between your hands. Shoulder blades relax down your back, taking your shoulders back a little as your heels press back and your navel comes towards your spine. If you're feeling strong here, don't do it straight away. If you're feeling strong here, come down in one straight line. If you ever find you've got any ache in your shoulders as you do this, just make your shoulders active by drawing your shoulders back, your shoulder blades down your back, and then bend your elbows down towards your feet so you come down in one straight line. Once you've landed, let your upper body relax so that you can then come into a good cobra, lifting your face and lifting your chest, shoulder blades still easing down and elbows in place. Toes tuck under. Hips lift to down face dog. Hips lift on high, taking your thighs back to the wall behind you. Picking up your left foot this time. Taking your heel up towards the... taking your right foot this time, sorry. Early days to be doing that. Right heel lifts high to the ceiling as your left heel presses down, getting its calf stretch. Hands still pressing forwards. You've still got a good down face dog. Lowering your right leg, bringing your big toe and second toe either side of your heel so that you can then press your left heel down a little more, getting more of a stretch in the calf. Still lifting your hips to the ceiling, maybe tilting your tailbone up to the ceiling to get more of a stretch in the calf. Yeah. Then lifting your right leg, lowering your right foot down. Reset your dog if you can, hips lift, hands press forward. Then look between your hands, bring your left foot through, hips relaxed, gaze lifts, right foot through, relaxing in your forward fold. Then a big reach up and forward and up, and hands come down. Inhale, exhale. I've just realised I haven't muted everyone, so let me just mute you all. I only know that because I heard one of you groan. So let's take that round, smoothly flowing, but getting as much precision as you can within the time that you have in each posture. Crown of your head lifting, hands relaxing, feet pressing down. Inhale. Exhale, palms firmly pressed together. Inhale, reaching and stretching up and back. Exhale, forward and down. Neck muscles relaxing. Inhale, right leg back. Let your gaze lift. Exhale, left foot back. Down face dog, hips lift, hands down, heels down. Inhale, forward to plank, so you find yourself looking between your hands. Exhale as you lower. Knees then chest or one straight line. Inhale, face and chest lifts, shoulder blades ease back. Exhale, toes tuck. Hips lift as high as you can take them. Heels press down, hands press forward. Inhale, right foot through between your hands. Keeping your left knee lifted. Exhale, left foot through, forward fold. Inhaling, reaching and stretching up. Exhale, hands down. Inhale. Exhale, palms pressed together. Inhale as you reach up and back. Exhale, forward and down. Inhale, left leg back. Lift your gaze. Exhale, right foot back. Lifting your hips high, taking your thighs to the wall behind you. Inhale, forward to plank. Wrists, shoulders above wrists. Exhale to lower. Inhale, face and chest lifting, shoulder blades ease back. Exhale, toes tuck, hips lift. Final down face dog, hands press forward and down. Inhale, left foot through. Lift your gaze, keep your right knee lifting. Exhale, right foot comes through, relaxing for that moment on your out breath. Inhale to reach and stretch all the way up. Exhale, hands down. Taking your feet apart, turning your palms to face forward, a couple of breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Then bring yourself back to lying down. I should have said at the beginning of the class, we're going to be using a belt today. So if you have a belt to hand, that would be great. It doesn't have to be a yoga belt. It can be any sort of belt. Anything that will allow you to lift your legs in a moment. And you also might want to have a block to hand or a brick. We're going to be making use of one of those later as well. So once you're sure you've got everything you need, come to lying down. Feet out to the corners, hands away from your body, palms turned up. Maybe just having a lengthen of your neck here. So lifting your back of your head away from the ground, tilt your chin down to your chest and then take your head back down. That might feel a little odd, so you might just need to have a little shuffle to get that comfortable, but you're wanting to try and get length in the back of your neck. So as you lie there, just be aware of anything that you notice and feel in your body after sun salutations. Not particularly taking any judgments about what you feel, just noticing that kind of residual sensation that's left after moving and stretching every part of the body. So we're going to take our legs through a good stretch. Bend your knees, bringing your feet in towards you and find your belt. Picking up your right foot and looping the centre of the belt around the ball of your right foot, stretching your leg out along the ground. Head resting on the ground, holding the belt loop in each hand with your arms straight. Drawing your toes towards you and pressing your heel away. Also pressing your knee down towards the ground. So your right leg is now completely straight. When you next inhale, bring that straight leg up towards the ceiling. So you're bringing it as high as it will easily and comfortably go while staying straight. Keep your legs straight if you can. If you hyperextend or have discomfort in the back of your knee, then put a little bend in that knee. Or if you find your lower back starts to ache. Shoulders can relax here. And as your shoulders relax, that'll draw your leg a little closer. And you'll maybe feel as if your leg is coming more firmly into your thigh socket. What you may find as you then do that is that your foot may have kind of moved to one side so that your sole of your foot isn't level with the ceiling. So just make any adjustments, which may well mean maybe drawing the little toe side in towards you, taking the big toe side a little bit away so your foot is really straight and level on the end of your leg. Then we'll use our breath. So as you next inhale, just ease your leg back until you come to a biting point where you're feeling the stretch in your leg, but it's not painful. As you exhale, relax your shoulders, relax your whole upper body. And then just keep that going breath by breath so that you gradually increase the stretch on that leg every time you inhale. And every time you exhale, that relaxing allows your leg to stretch a little further next breath. Just have one more breath there, a final biting point for now. Then pass both belt loops to your right hand. Hold up as close to your foot as you can reach. Extend your left arm out along the ground at shoulder height. Again, have that sensation of your right thigh bone firmly connecting into your hip socket. Then when you next exhale, slowly take your leg out to the right, pressing your right heel away, pressing your left hand away in the opposite direction, taking your left knee out to the side. Once your leg's gone as far as it can easily go, then just allow it to hold there. Just make sure that you are holding your belt in such a way that your wrist isn't coming under strain. So my wrist tends to start to sort of move, my knuckles tend to move down towards the ground. If I bring them back up, that helps my wrist to stay strong. Keeping your left hand pressing away, your right heel pressing in the opposite direction. Letting your legs relax as much as you can so that they drift down towards the ground. Maybe pressing your left knee down a little so that that gets more of a stretch. Taking one more breath there. As you next inhale, bring your leg back up to the center. Reach your hands up, a belt loop in each hand, and draw that leg back towards the wall above your head. Still keeping your sole of your foot level with your ceiling. Then release your foot, and as you exhale, lower your right leg. Stretch your left leg out for a moment. Just being aware of how each leg feels. And bending both knees, bringing both feet in towards you, picking up your left foot, looping the belt around the ball of your left foot, stretching your left leg out along the ground. Holding a belt loop in each hand with your arms straight. Flexing your left foot, pressing your left knee firmly down. Then when you next breathe in, lift your straight leg up towards the ceiling. Reach your hands up so you've got a belt loop in each hand. Relax your shoulders. Really feel that thigh bone deep in the left hip socket. Getting your sole of your foot as level as you can with your ceiling. That's likely to, again, to me, drawing the little toe side a bit towards you, which you can do with the belt, or you can do by pressing the big toe side away. Then using your breath as you inhale, draw that leg back to its first biting point. So that real sense of stretch and a bit of discomfort. As you exhale, relaxing the upper body, and then with every breath, finding a new biting point. So if your eyes are open, you might see your toes move a millimetre or two against the ceiling with each inhale. Keeping the knee flex, keeping the foot flexed, keeping the knee pressing away. Take one more breath. Pass both belt loops to the left hand, holding up close by your foot, right arm extends out along the ground. As you next exhale, let the left leg drift out to the left. The belt will slip through your fingers, your elbow bends to come down onto the ground. Get to that point where you've got a good sense of your leg suspended on the belt, your wrist straight on the end of your arm, pressing your left heel to the left, your right hand firmly to the right. Letting your right knee drop out to the side a little more, and then take a couple of breaths there. Each exhale, letting everything relax down towards the ground. When you next inhale, bring your legs back to the center. Reach up to grab a belt loop in each hand, and then take your final hamstring stretch here. Drawing your foot back, shoulders relaxing. And then release. Let your left leg lower to the ground, placing the belt to one side. Stretch your legs out, hands by your side, palms turned up. And just take a breath or two there. But the belt can go to one side, Angelique. We're done with the belt. So we're going to move on to our core. For our core, we're going to take dynamic crow. We haven't done dynamic crow for a little while. So setting up for dynamic crow, bring your feet together and take your arms up above your head. So with your legs stretched out, Angelique, hands stretching up behind you, navel drawing down towards your spine so your core is engaged. As you next exhale, lift your legs, lift your upper body away from the ground, and then start your knees bending to bring your knees in, lifting your upper body to get a contact between your knees and your upper arms. You want to come as close to your armpits as you can, having the inside of your feet touching each other. Then when you next inhale, stretch your legs out, stretch your arms up, so you're stretching out as long as you can. And then when you next exhale, bringing it back in. So lifting your legs, bringing your knees in, lifting your upper body, making contact somewhere on your upper arms. And then inhale, stretching out again. When you stretch out long. When you exhale, hugging tight. If this is stronger than your core needs, then don't extend your legs all the way away from you. If you take this with your knees bent, then that will lighten the load, allowing you to do 3 or 4 more. Also, if you want to make it stronger, then don't land your heels down when your legs stretch out. That will keep you working the whole time. There will be no rest. So if you've got it, taking 2 more. Really lifting your knees in, lifting your chest forward. And then when you're done, keep stretched out. Let your elbows bend so your arms can relax above your head. Maybe come into that almost T shape again. Filling your abdomen with every in-breath so that your navel lifts on an in-breath and relaxes down on an exhale. Then bringing your hands down by your side. And from here we're going to take bridge pose, Setu Bandhasana. So bending your knees, bringing your feet in towards you. Just having a reach down to see if you can graze the middle of your heel with your middle finger. That will show that your shins are near vertical, which is how you want them to be. Feet are hip distance apart. Toes turn slightly towards each other, but only slightly. Then, when you're ready, tilt your tailbone up to the ceiling and feel your lower back press into the ground. From there, starting to lift your hips, pressing into your feet to help your hips to lift away from the mat. So keep pressing into your feet, keep lifting your hips away from the mat. And you can also think about it as taking the little hip bones at the front up towards the corner of the wall and ceiling above your head. Once you've got your hips lifted as high as you can, press your upper arms down into the ground. See if that will let you lift more of your upper back away from the mat. So you're trying to form that bridge with your body. And you want as much space underneath for something to go under. If it feels comfortable for your shoulders, you could take your hands underneath you and interlace your fingers, bringing your palms together. And then if you do that, what you could also do, just roll a little bit over onto your left shoulder and tuck your right shoulder out and underneath. And then move a little onto your right shoulder and tuck your left shoulder underneath. It's sort of roll out of your upper arms as your shoulder comes under. Then wherever you are, press your feet down, press your upper arms down. See if you can get more lift of your hips. See if you can get more lift of your upper back. Taking 2 more breaths there. On your final inhale, have a good final lift. And if your hands are underneath you, just move them out to the side and then very slowly start draping your upper back down onto the ground, sending your hips towards your heels. Come down slowly, your hips will land last. And as soon as they do, bring your knees up onto your chest, taking your arms around the back of your knees or the front of your knees, and take a rock side to side. Bringing that rocking to a halt in the centre and lifting your head towards your knees, drawing your knees down towards your chest. Take your head down, take your feet down, and from there, bring yourself up to sitting. So we're going to take Paschimottanasana, the straight leg forward fold. And to do, take a block if you would like to sit on a block. And I'd certainly take that if you find sitting up straight and it's a right angle like this, it takes effort. Having a block can help you to do that. It'll also help you to roll forward in a moment towards your toes. Taking your belt again, then loop the belt around the balls of both feet and come so that you're sitting with the belt straight in your arms, as close towards your feet, with your hands as close towards your feet as you can reach. And then once you're there, just pull the belt in towards you, and as you do that, your shoulders can come back and your chest will lift. So you're really coming into a good, strong, upright position. Then, when you next exhale, keep that upright position as you pull gently on the belt so that you start to come forward from your hips. So keeping your legs straight unless you start to feel any discomfort in your lower back, or if you just feel that you're not really making any forward movement with your legs straight. So just take 2 more breaths here, where on your inhale, you're pulling on the belt to ease forward. On the exhale, don't do anything yet. So each inhale, just to draw forward, keeping your chest lifted, keeping your upper body straight. Then, change that breath pattern so that as you inhale, you're still drawing yourself forward, but as you exhale, you can now allow your upper body to relax forward over your legs, as much as it will do for you. Moving your hands so they're as close to your feet as you can take them. If you have long hamstrings and can reach your toes, then you could let go of the belt and take hold of your toes. Otherwise, keep hold of the belt. Inhaling, easing forward. Exhaling, relaxing your upper body over your legs. Keeping your shoulders easing back a little so you retain some strength in your arms. Take 2 more breaths. Then from there, let go of the belt, look up towards your toes, reach your hands forward. On your next exhale, have a press forward with your arms, and on your inhale, reach yourself up. Bringing your arms up to the ceiling, and then exhale, lowering your hands down. Taking the belt to one side. So when we take that with our legs more straight, then it becomes a hamstring stretch. We're going to turn it into a calf stretch. So just take a bit of a bend of your knees, bending them enough so that you can reach over with your hands and take a firm grip of your feet. So you want your hands to go over your toes, and so Marcus, just bring your feet in as much as you need to so you can get your hands over your toes. That's fine. Perfect. Then, once you've got that grip on your toes, you can then just start drawing the base of your toes up towards you. And so you're super flexing your feet, and you'll start to feel a bit of a stretch in your calves. And then once you've got a sense of that, you might find you can keep the grip on your feet whilst sending your feet away, so whilst making your legs a little bit straighter. And what your aim is to have your legs as straight as you can whilst having a firm grip on your toes, so that you can be drawing your toes firmly towards your knees and getting that stretch in your calf. And you know when it's working because you'll have a quite hot stretch in your calves. And then again, we can take the breath here so that as you inhale, you're easing forward towards your toes. This time as you exhale, see if you can draw your toes more firmly up towards you. So that way you're getting more strength in that calf stretch. You might find your knees can come completely straight. Again, it depends on the length of your hamstrings. So just take 2 more breaths, inhaling, easing your upper body forward, exhaling, drawing your calves more firmly towards your knees. Then one more breath and just release your toes and come back up to sitting, taking a shake of your legs. From here, coming onto your front, ready to work our backs. Just going to open my window because it's surprisingly warm tonight. So coming onto your front and placing one hand on top of the other and resting your forehead onto your hands. So we're going to build up to Dhanurasana tonight, bow pose. The first step we're going to take is actually to work with our legs. So with your forehead resting and relaxing on your hands and your upper body relaxed, bend your right knee so that your foot points up towards the ceiling. With your foot pointing up towards the ceiling, then press your right hip crease firmly down into the ground. And as you do that, you might then find you can press your knee a little bit away from you and lift it up away from the mat. So what you're doing is you're lifting your right knee away from the mat, sending your right foot up towards the ceiling, keeping your upper body and left leg as relaxed as you can. Just take one more breath there, see if you can lift the knee higher as you take it. Then relax that leg, straighten your right leg out and bend your left knee. With your left knee bent, press your left hip flexor down, left hip crease firmly down into the ground. And as you do that, press your knee a little down towards the bottom of your mat and then lift it up away from the mat. Pressing your foot up towards the ceiling as your left hip crease presses down and your knee lifts. Keeping everything else as relaxed as you can. One more breath, see if it will lift a little higher. And then lower the knee, stretching your left leg out. So coming to the upper back, setting up for a couple of cobras. So bringing your hands underneath your shoulders, fingertips in line with your shoulders. Once they're in position, bringing your forehead down onto the mat. With your forehead on the mat, just take your shoulders up to the ceiling and then down towards your feet to activate them. When you next inhale, lift your face. So you're looking forward along your floor. And then as you next inhale, slowly lift your chest away from the mat. Hands just relaxing on the mat. All the lift is coming from your upper back. Keeping your breath steady, shoulder blades relaxed down your back, elbows in close. One more breath, lifting as you take it. As you exhale, lowering back down, resting your forehead on the mat for a breath. So one more cobra. So first of all, forehead on the mat, shoulders up to the ceiling and down towards your feet. When you next inhale, lift your face and look forward. When you next inhale, lift your chest away from the mat. Put a bit of pressure into your hands. Just come as high pressing into your hands as your lower back is comfortable to go. Easing your chest forward, shoulders back, shoulder blades down your back. One more breath, one more lift as you take it. As you exhale, slowly lowering down. Bringing your hands underneath your forehead. And taking a moment's rest there. Then coming up onto your elbows and taking your right elbow so that your right elbow is directly underneath your shoulder and the right hand, fingers are nice and wide, and that's giving you a really firm base. Aiming to keep your chest nicely parallel with your mat. Then bend your left knee, pressing your hip crease down, taking your left hand around to see if you can find and take a hold of your ankle. If you can't easily reach your ankle, you could try taking a belt, or that's quite awkward when you're by yourself. Or you could simply still send your hand towards your ankle even if you've not got connection. From there, with your chest staying nice and level with the mat, lifting your chest, pressing your left hip crease down into the mat, and then starting to see if you can press your heel into your hand a little, and that will lift your chest a little higher, keeping your left hip crease pressing firmly into the mat. Is that cramped, Jim? Oh no, are you okay? So feeling that stretch at your shoulder, seeing if you can lift your knee a little bit away from the ground as you press your ankle into your hand, and then release, let your leg relax down, bringing your hand back in front of you, and then setting up to do the other side. So now you want your left elbow directly under your shoulder, bending your right knee, pressing your right hip crease down, then taking your right arm around and seeing if you can find, preferably your ankle. You might be on the top of your foot. If you can reach your ankle, then do. Then just squaring your chest again up towards the front of your mat, having that firm base of your left arm on the ground, pressing your left hip crease down, starting a sense of your knee lifting as you then press your ankle into your hand, allowing your shoulder to open back, seeing if you can lift your knee a little, keeping your left hip crease pressing, right hip crease pressing firmly down, feeling that stretch at your shoulder. Take one more breath here. And then as you exhale, release, let go of your ankle. Bring your hands back underneath your forehead and rest your forehead onto your hands. And then we'll take full bow pose. We are going to, no, we'll just take bow pose once, I think. So if you feel you've already done enough, or full bow pose is more than you need, then you could take cobra again with your hands underneath your shoulders. If you're going to take bow pose, bend your knees, feet point up to the ceiling, pressing both your hip creases firmly into the ground, and then lifting your head away from your hands, reaching your hands around the outside to see if they can find your ankles. If they don't find your ankles, you can still send them towards your ankles, keeping your feet lifted towards the ceiling. Hip creases pressed firmly down, lifting your chest, and then you might find you can start to lift your knees by pressing your ankles into your hands. That will lift your chest away from the ground, using your hands and leg strength to lift your knees a little more towards the ceiling, keeping your breath steady and smooth, allowing your shoulders to roll back and open. Taking one more breath, seeing if your knees will lift, seeing if your chest will lift. As you exhale, lowering your knees, releasing your ankles, bringing your hands underneath your shoulders, underneath your forehead, and resting your forehead onto your hands. Are you okay, Jim? So taking a moment's rest there, letting everything relax. Bringing your hands then underneath your shoulders to come up to hands and knees for a little bit of cat-cow to release the back. So wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. On an inhale, lift your tailbone to the ceiling. Look up towards the ceiling with your head, let your back of your waist relax down. When you exhale, tuck your head under, tuck your tailbone under, and arch your back up to the ceiling. Keep that going with your breath. Inhaling, head and tailbone lifts. As you exhale, they tuck under, arching your back up to the ceiling. So take a few more of those. When you're next in cat, hold there. Press into your hands, knees and feet, arching your back up a little higher to the ceiling. Really feeling that stretch over the whole of the back. Then release, relaxing your torso, sitting back towards your heels, stretching your hands forward, bringing your head down towards the ground. Maybe making, if you find with your hips close to your heels, your forehead doesn't easily touch the ground, you could make a fist or two fists on top of each other to rest your forehead on, or take a block. Do adjust your child's pose. So if you want to take your knees apart or have your hands down by your feet, whatever makes you the most comfortable, for another 2 or 3 breaths. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders, pressing into your hands, lift yourself back up and come to sitting again with your legs stretched out for a twist. You could sit on a block here if that makes it more comfortable to sit upright. And once you're sitting comfortably, stretch your legs out and bring your left foot in, crossing it over the right leg. Bringing your foot as close alongside you as you can. Take your hands on your knee, draw your knee in towards you, bring your chest towards your knee so you come up straight. Taking your right arm out to the side, and then bring your arm in with a bit of vigour so that you get as good a grip of that leg as you can. So that you might find you can bring the inner elbow right up against your knee, but it might be that that allows you to have more of your forearm in contact with your leg, but have as much contact as you can. That lets you draw your leg nice and over. And other knee, Jen. Taking your left hand behind you and pressing into your left hand to straighten still. And when you next exhale, just taking your chest around to the left. So nice and slowly, let the twist develop. Don't rush straight to the end game. When you've gone as far around as you can easily access, you can then see if your left shoulder will go back a little bit further round, bringing your chest further round. Maybe starting to use the strength of your right arm against your leg to ease you round further. Using your upper body strength as well, using your strength in your torso to twist. Looking over your shoulder with your chin level, and then take a couple of breaths there. Inhale, press into your backhand so you become a bit straighter, and as you exhale, see if you can twist round a little more deeply. Take one more breath. When you next exhale, relax your upper body and bring yourself to face the front. Stretch your left leg out and bring your right foot across. Draw it in close. Extend your left arm out to the side so that you can bring it round with a bit of welly and take a good firm grip of your right leg. Right hand behind, fingertips pressing into the ground. You might find at this point it's quite helpful just to bring my torso back a bit so I can sort of bring my belly round to bring it just a little bit this side of the leg to help me to twist a little more deeply. Then sitting up straight, when you next exhale, start to take your chest further around to the right. When you've gone as far as you can, take your gaze over your shoulder, taking your right shoulder back a little more then to deepen you into the twist, and starting to use your left arm against your leg. And as you do that, you can draw the right leg a little more over to the left. That increases the stretch in your piriformis, which is what you're feeling in your right glute. Take 2 or 3 breaths there. Inhale, straighten with the backhand. Exhale, ease yourself round a little more deeper into your twist. One more breath. When you next exhale, just relax your upper body, almost slouch, and then bring yourself back to face the front. Stretch your right leg out and take a shake of your legs. So we're going to take one more posture. We're going to take a wide leg forward fold, and then we're going to come to a bit of final relaxation with our legs up the wall, or the door, or the sofa, or whatever you've got to hand to take your legs up. So from here, come to standing. So we're going to take Prasarita Padottanasana, and we're going to take it twice. The first time we'll take it with our legs wide, and then the second time we will take it with our legs not quite so wide and just take it into an ITB stretch. Just in case you're wondering where the ITB stretch was today. So take your legs as wide as they will go, but not so wide that you're completely out of control. Bring your hands onto your hips. Now, right now, your toes are probably pointing to the front corners of your mat. Bring your toes in a little so that the outer edge of your foot is parallel with the outer edge of your mat. Then really strengthen your legs by pressing all four corners of your feet into the ground, activating your legs. So as your feet press firmly down, you maybe feel your knees draw back a little, so let your knees press towards the wall behind you, drawing your knees up a little so that your upper legs, your quads all strengthen up towards your hips, so your legs are strong and solid. With your hands on your hips, take a lift of your chest, taking your shoulders back. When you next exhale, start to hinge forward from your hips. Keep your chest lifted for a moment, so you keep coming down. When you can't hinge for any further forward, just hold there. Really send your sitting bones back behind you as you stretch the crown of your head forwards. You're lengthening your spine and upper body as much as you can. Seeing if you can come a little lower with your upper body still straight. Then, as you next exhale, you can just release and let go. So allow your body to relax down. Release your hands from your hips. They'll either come to the ground. If they don't reach the ground, then you can take a hold of the opposite elbow with the opposite hand, letting your neck muscles relax down to the ground. Keeping your legs strong, so feet are pressing down, particularly the outer edges. Keeping your legs straight, drawing your quads and thigh muscles up towards your hips. And then using each breath so that each time you exhale, you allow yourself to relax down a little more towards the ground. Maybe tilting your tailbone up towards the ceiling. If you're finding it uncomfortable to have to be hanging straight down, if you have a block to hand, you can take a block and let your arms rest on a block or a brick. So taking a couple more breaths there, keeping your feet pressing down, tilting your tailbone up, relaxing your upper body as much as you can. Then preparing to come out, bringing your hands onto your hips. Bringing your hands onto your hips. Taking a little bend in your knees. And then on a big inhale, lifting yourself back up. Then heel toeing your feet back together and taking a shake of each leg. And then, looking at the time, I think we'll forego ITB stretches today and head straight to the wall. So from here, decide where you're going to go. If you want to avoid marks on your wall, then you may well want to go near to a door. Alternatively, if you've got a sofa near you, you can do this against a sofa. But wherever you're going to go, bring yourself so that you are sitting by the wall or door or sofa that you're going to lift your legs up, and have your hip touching, it doesn't matter which hip, whichever hip you like, touching your target place where you're going to be lifting up. I know you're worried about your deposit there, Marcus. I'm sure your heels are clean. So once you're there, just take your hands behind you. And then this, if you watch this first, it's a little three-way movement. You're going to lean back, you're going to lift your legs, and you're going to twizzle around so that you end up with your bum close to the wall or sofa and your legs in the air. So it's a sitting back as you lift your legs as you twist around. Yeah, sorry Jim, that's quite challenging in that space. You might just need to shuffle yourself forward. So aiming to shuffle forward until your bum's touching the wall, legs are up. And then once you're there, take your hands by your side, palms turned up. You might just want to lift your head away from the ground, tilt your chin down and then land your head back down. So Angelique, you'll need to just still have a little bit of effort to hold your legs there, but that will reduce in a moment. So just take a breath or two there. This is a superb thing to do particularly after a long run or ride. Elevating the legs is really good for them after they've worked. So from there, you could maybe take your legs out, your feet out to the side. So you're opening your legs away from each other. Just taking them as far as you're able to. I realise, Jim, you're a little bit restricted there, but just taking them as wide as you can. There goes the paintwork, sorry. And then just getting a feel of that stretch down the insides of your legs. Again, this is nice because it's just gravity's giving you that stretch. You don't have to work for it, you just need to let your legs relax apart. And then from there, you can maybe just bend your knees a little and bring your feet towards each other so that you join the soles of your feet together. So bend your knees in towards you and then bring the soles of your feet together. And then once you've got a connection with the soles of your feet, you can maybe see if you can bring them... Sorry Angelique, that's not easiest against the sofa. You can bring them down as close in towards your hips as you can, and maybe take your hands to press your knees away. So that you're getting a bit more stretch down the insides of your legs, but also this is a nice hip opening stretch. And then we're going to move from here into final relaxation. So if you want to take whatever posture feels the most relaxing for you, so it could be this one with your knees there. Angelique, what could be nice for you is just to take your calves onto your sofa. Yeah, perfect. So you might want to stay with your knees bent and your soles of your feet together. You might want to have your legs straight up the wall. You might want to have them straight up the wall but with your legs open. Whatever feels relaxing. If this doesn't feel relaxing, and it isn't relaxing for everybody, feel free to dismount your wall and come to lie out in traditional Shavasana pose. But wherever you are, with your eyes closed, just take 2 or 3 breaths where you allow your exhale to relax your upper body more firmly against the ground. And if your feet, soles of your feet together, to let your knees relax down a little more. For you, Angelique, to let your calves relax a little more comfortably against your sofa. And then there's nothing to do for the next minute or two except relax and rest. Keeping your body still for another moment, bringing your awareness back. And if you've got your knees bent, just maybe straighten your legs back up again. Angelique, if you keep your knees bent there, but if you've got your soles of your feet together, stretching your legs up. Taking your arms up overhead, above your head. Stretching your hands away from you. Stretching your legs away from you. Maybe drawing your toes towards you as you press your heels away. Then release, relaxing. Bend your knees so that you're bringing your knees onto your chest, taking your arms to hug around your knees. Maybe allowing yourself a rock side to side there. And then to dismount your wall. I'm not quite sure how you're going to do this, Jim, but you want to roll to one side. The side you've got the most space, so that you end up lying on your side. And then from there, bringing your hand in front of your face, pressing into your hand to bring yourself back up to sitting. No rush, Angelique. And then from there, thank you for joining me. Namaste.